Hello, all right. So this is a lesson on line of reasoning. Again, line of reasoning is so important that it appears in half of the different strands for 7. So I want to emphasize it a lot as we move towards the culminating moments of the course. Today, I'm presenting on it because your assignment is to establish your outline for your papers, which is essentially asking you, what is your line of reasoning? And then I'll have a couple of models for you that are fuller models of what this looks like, and they're from your peers. And if you're watching this, they're from some of you. So here is the assignment. Our organization assignment is linked to the papers you are writing. As you read, their eyes were watching God. And that'll be true for the next 3 weeks. So today or this week, you're doing your outlines, and next week are your drafts. And then the following week after that, you'll be reflecting on each other's drafts and move into your own revision to your final. All right, so I'd like you to submit your introduction paragraph and then a brief outline of your body paragraph topics. Topics alone, doesn't need to be complete sentences. The last sentence of your introduction is your thesis statement, your biggest claim. So that's 7B. And the brief outline will represent your line of reasoning, your best work in selecting, though not yet defending, your line of reasoning. And I'm going to spend some time on that one today. First, there's thesis statements. And there's 2 kinds of thesis statements, and I'm reviewing this. But no matter which kind you pick, your sentence itself, your thesis statement itself, will be a 2-part sentence, 9 times out of 10. Because it takes a complex sentence to articulate a complex thought, and a thesis statement will by nature have some complexity in it. So you can choose either list thesis, where you clearly identify your answer to the prompt, and then you list the categories that comprise your line of reasoning, the literary elements that you're going to explore. It doesn't matter if the line of reasoning comes first and the concept is second, or if the concept is first and the line of reasoning is second in your complex sentence. Then there's a conceptual thesis. In a conceptual thesis, you clearly identify your answer to the prompt and establish your major defense in a conceptual statement. And so the reader and you are left not quite knowing how you'll go about exploring that, but everyone is confident that you know what that concept is. Okay, so here is an example, and this is tied to the perspective concept from Sunday's creative analysis. So the prompt is, many narrators embrace a perspective that is difficult to separate from one of the main characters in the text. In Joyce Philodorus, what is the tone or perspective of the narrator, and how does that shape the message? So my list thesis is, in his essay, Joyce Philodorus, Brian Doyle's speaker reveals through long flowing lists and extended metaphor that the heart is a fragile, hopeful place. So my concept is that fragility and the hopefulness, and the line of reasoning is going to be the long flowing lists and extended metaphor. Deliberately doing extended metaphor second so I can spend more time on the impact of metaphor. My conceptual thesis is, in his essay Joyce Philodorus, Brian Doyle's speaker has an attitude of surrender and submits to the crushing power of love. And so the concept is that surrender. Now, who knows how the writer will go about defending it, but that is the central work that will push everything forward. Now, why am I doing this? We've been writing these thesis statements and claims all year. So why are we revisiting them now? But your writing as a class is extraordinarily strong. The evidence is strong. The embedding of quotes is strong. These are great essays I'm reading. The consistent group thing that we can always work on, all of us, me too, every writer, is the arrangement of ideas for their maximum power, and that is line of reasoning. So we're going to where those things rest, which is in the thesis statement. In the thesis statement, you will plant the seed for your line of reasoning. They are created equal. You can choose either way, but it's good to know the pitfalls and the benefits of each. So in a list thesis, the line of reasoning is something you clearly establish. The pitfalls are that you have to make sure you arrange your line with confidence and thoughtfulness. It is very difficult to change the order once you've already established it. It's possible, but what happens is, as a writer, you'll become convicted in the line of reasoning you set out, and it'll be difficult to change because you yourself will be blind to it. You'll have committed. So before you put it down, you have to be really intentional and take that extra moment to ensure that your line that you establish there in the thesis is going to be the most natural and the most impactful. The benefits of the line of reasoning in the thesis statement is if you have really good confidence in the claim you're making and you can clearly see the parts of your argument, your essay will be super tight and very organized. The conceptual thesis is good for other reasons, but has other pitfalls. In that, you will not establish a line of reasoning. You'll establish it slowly along the way of your argument. Your reasoning will be mysterious until you unfold it piece by piece. The pitfalls of this, in this kind of thesis, which is more vague, you have to constantly ask yourself where you are going and how you're going to get there. Or your paper might lose its organization and thus its power. The benefits, though, are they're really effective as a time-saving thesis in an on-demand writing setting, like the exam. If you don't know exactly what your line of reasoning will be, aim for a concept that seems obvious to you, and then you'll build your argument along the way. So let me return to those examples I just showed you. Now, which is the stronger thesis? That's my question. The stronger thesis here is my conceptual thesis. It has more power. I don't exactly know what the line of reasoning will be. You can tell that in my list thesis. My line of reasoning is that the speaker reveals through long flowing lists an extended metaphor. That's not a strong line of reasoning. I don't really know what I mean. All I feel confident in is the concept. The heart is a fragile place. The heart is a crushing place. So clearly the concept is more inspiring to me. My list thesis shows just how thin at the moment my line of reasoning really is. I'm going to have to establish that as I explore my concept. If this is a real exam setting and I feel this way, I need to choose number 2, a conceptual thesis. I need to trust myself in my idea that the line of reasoning will come about as I explore my evidence. And so if I had to choose one right before you here, again, I'm choosing number 2. It's the better one. And it allows me the freedom and the flexibility that I'm going to need to have a good line of reasoning. Okay, so we've established the 2 sorts of thesis statements that will yield in some way or another a line of reasoning. Now, let's explain one more time why. A strong line of reasoning builds an ascending ladder towards your best idea. Not necessarily the best idea in the world, because how can that be judged, but your best idea. The idea that is most compelling to you, that captivates you the most. This is simply good organization. But why does that matter? Good organization has a power beyond itself. It is greater than the sum of its parts because it allows you, the writer, to move with the momentum of your idea. And that will give you speed, which is nice in an on-demand setting, but it'll give you creativity, it'll give you confidence, it will open up worlds for you. Organization is not primarily for the reader. It is for you, the writer. I think too often we teachers say, you need to organize it well because people need to know what you're saying. And that's true in everything, but it's mostly about you. Because if you feel that your argument is well arranged and meaningful, it will be. Okay. More examples. So let's look at what that is when it's done well. A line of reasoning model. This is from Lord of the Flies. So back in the day, you did your power timed right. This was your prompt. The list thesis that I am putting here as a model, it's one I made. I'm trying to show you where list thesis can also have that power. Lest you think that I am privileging conceptual theses. I'm not. They're both good. It just depends on the particular idea. So in my list thesis here, I say, the Lord of the Flies seeks to gain power over all the boys through the character of Jack by giving him an illusion of control, manipulating his sphere, and making him feel unloved. In this list thesis, I know so clearly where I'm going. My first body paragraph will be about the illusion of control that Jack has, as given by the Lord of the Flies. My second body paragraph will be about the fear Jack has and the manipulation of that into something sinister. My last paragraph will be about Jack feeling like he is unloved. The consequence there, of course, is he extends that to everybody. My best idea is that last one, is that Jack acts from a place of insecurity. That's my best idea. I'm fascinated by that. I'm fascinated by the moments where Jack is clearly seeking Ralph's admiration and he doesn't get it. The moment Caitlin, had wrote on this months ago, the moment where he is upset that Ralph is not happy about the pig kill. I just think that there's something there and I want to know what it is. So that's my best idea. Jack desperately wants to be admired, be accepted, to be above all loved. I really love that idea, and I think it has critical implications beyond my single argument, and so I put it last. Do you hear my energy, my excitement for this? I'm building towards that, and I trust along the way that I am laying the foundation for that idea to have meaning. Okay, so other models. These are from two of you, and they're full essays. For your assignment, I'd like you to read these models. I'm going to return to them next week for a craft skill that both of these essays contain. I like using two models here because you get to see different writing styles. Lila and Eli write in different ways, but to equally maximum effect. This is the crime and punishment timed right. So I would like you to pause the screen and take a few moments to follow these links through, and I'll put them in the lecture notes as well, to check out specifically, right, the line of reasoning in each argument. Lila has a conceptual time-saving thesis that gives her room to discover an argument. I want you to notice how the ending conclusion draws together the pieces of the argument. And then check out Eli's essay. Eli has a list thesis that clearly establishes where he is going, and the organization of the essay is very much in control throughout the piece. Notice how he builds his essay towards one sentence that is his climactic sentence. It is the sentence listed here. Luzin is disliked and disapproved of by the narrator, even though Raskolnikov is the rude one in the passage. It is this culminating moment for his argument. After that, his conclusion stays at that high level. So please do that. It'll take you about 5 minutes and then come back. Okay, so how do you do this on your own? I'm going to use Eli's model and translate it into what I'm hoping to receive from you all this week. So this is the introduction and thesis statement that Eli wrote. That could be what you do, kind of that size. And then an outline, but yours will be 2 to 3 times as long. When you're doing your outline, again, this is inspired by Eli's model, I'm just pulling concepts. Doesn't have to be complete sentences. Sometimes it is, if that's what I feel like I need to do, based on what Eli was doing there. So the first concept was Luzin's haughty analysis of the setting. The second, 2 contrasting opinions. The third, his embarrassment and Radya's contempt. And lastly, Rodya settles the verdict. You're going to do something similar, maybe 1 to 8 or so, 1 to 10, where you're listing out the short topics that you know connect to your thesis statement that you're setting out. And I really look forward to seeing what you have. This will be the moment where I offer a lot of feedback and make suggestions on what you might be able to change, but I'll give you feedback on your topics before you dive into this work as well. There it is, your submission for this week. Thank you so much, and good luck.